Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Swatches. Today I have a look at the new Green Gables collection that is releasing starting on April 1st through the 5th from Femme Fatale Cosmetics. So these will be available starting at 9 a.m. in Australian time. These will be available for a few pre-sales and then trickle down to your favorite stockists as well. So definitely let your favorite shops know if you are interested in having this collection. These were sent to me for review and I'll go ahead and get right into the swatches. So first up is a White Way of Delight, and this polish is described as a stunning off-white curly base with a soft copper glow that's filled with white and silver holographic glitters of various sizes, as well as holographic particles. So you can see that copper glow really showing off there in the bottle. I'll go ahead and show you how White Way of Delight swatched on my natural nail. This is in a curly base, so this is one that you're going to go in nice and smooth with and just take your time to build it up. This first coat did go on nice and milky. I did get a ton of those glitters already on the nail, as well as some of that copper showing through. It was really hard to photograph here with my camera, but it does show up beautifully on the nail. So here's a look at that second coat. It does build up that white base a little bit. I did still have some visible nail lines, so I'm going to go ahead, work this coat out, make sure I get all those glitters exactly where I want them, and then show you how it builds up for me with that third and final coat for today. So here's a quick look at that. 3 coats does bring this one right to the edge of being completely opaque. If you wanted full opacity, I think you could totally go in for that fourth coat and it would bring you all the way there. I think 3 coats makes for a soft, clean, and very bridal look. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. I do recommend going in with your favorite glossy top coat just to help finish this one off and keep it nice and shimmery. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight, and you can see all that copper shimmer coming through here. And then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same direct sunlight. So next up is a Kindred Spirit, and this is going to be one for all of you professionals out there. So this polish is described as a flattering, cool tone, dusty rose pink with a blue glow and holographic particles. So this is a very beautiful work-friendly shade. It's right on the edge there of being a nude, but it does give you some of that shimmer, and it does give you a little bit of subtle hollow. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one does go on super smooth, really easy, just a little bit sheer. That kind of curly base is really going to let that blue cool tone shimmer build up on itself and get really strong on the nail. So here's a look at that second coat. It does kind of amp up that coverage a little bit. It adds a little bit more of that shimmer and more of that hollow as well as that dusty base, but I do still have some visible nail lines. I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with that third and final coat. So I did go in for a little bit of a thicker third coat here. It did push this polish all the way into being completely opaque. If you prefer thinner coats, you may need to go in for maybe a fourth one here depending on your application method. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. And then here's a quick view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. So again, that shimmer is definitely in the forefront here. This is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Currant Wine, and this polish is described as a gorgeous berry cream with a blue glow. The shimmer on this base is just as gorgeous on the nail as it is there in the bottle, very strong and vivid. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one did go on pretty smooth, maybe a little bit streaky here, but it's just going in and building up that base of color. So I'm going to go ahead, complete this coat, let it dry, and then show you how it built up for me with that second coat. Again, these are almost a little bit juicy feeling that's really going to help that shimmer build up and be really strong and forefront on the nail. So 2 coats did for sure amp up that coverage, made it a little bit more smoother and even application. I did still have a little bit of visible nail lines. I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with my third and final coat. This third coat did bring it pretty much completely opaque. While I'm swatching on my mirror, I do have some of my lights that kind of reflect up and through my nail line. It's not quite as vivid and visible here as it is in just real life. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and that's a better view of what this looks like in a real application. So this is my final swatch photo at an angle again in that same direct sunlight. Alright, you guys, this next polish is this Freckled Witch, and it is definitely, without a doubt, my #1 top pick of this collection. So this polish is described as a red to greeny copper multichrome that's packed with silver holographic glitters and holographic particles. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, once a multichrome, always a multichrome, but this one is a phenomenal. The application is beautiful. I love the inspiration behind it. It definitely speaks directly to my heart, and wait till you see the shift at the end. So here's a look at that first coat. This one does go on nice and smooth, really easy, just a little bit sheer. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry down and show you how it built up for me with that second coat. So here's a quick look at that. I did maybe go in a little bit heavy-handed with this polish, but 2 coats made for complete opacity with no issues at all. Again, I do recommend going in with your favorite glossy top coat just to help even out maybe some of those larger glitters. Here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. And here it's kind of showing off mainly the red, which I do get from this polish, but I'm going to try to show you how it shifted for me underneath my artificial angles. And you can see it does go all the way to that gorgeous unicorn pea-like green, and then I'm going to bring it back to red for you. Super beautiful and shifty on the nail. Maybe a little bit hard to catch on camera, but definitely gorgeous at all angles. So here's another look from a different angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same direct sunlight. So next up is my lifelong sorrow, and no Anne collection would be complete without a polish of this kind of inspiration. So this polish is described as a pale champagne pink with a golden glow that shifts through to a bolder orange with golden glow when cold. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one is a little bit sheer. It does have a ton of shimmer in it though. That's really going to help with that opacity. One amazing thing about the application here is that you really don't have to worry about your brush strokes at all. Even though it is a strong shimmer, they mellow out gorgeously. This is a thermal. My hands were a little bit cool toned this day, but I am going to go ahead and show you how it shifts in my cups when I'm done, so don't worry about that at all. So here's that second coat. It does build that coverage up a little bit, but I did still have some visible nail lines. I'm going to go ahead and go in for that third and final coat. Again, with a little bit of a thicker third coat here, it did bring this polish completely opaque with no issues at all. So this is one of those polishes that I'm going to recommend that you go in with one coat of your favorite glossy top coat just to keep everything nice and bright. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat, just at the natural shift with my cool toned hands. So I am going to go ahead and show you in the cups what that looks like. So to the left here I have really warm water, and then to the right I have ice cold water. You can see there that cold shift is beautifully bright and orange just like Anne's hair. And then to the left here, it does shift to that almost soft pink with a very strong golden glow. And I'll go ahead and show you that side by side there. So again, to the left is the warm and to the right is the cold. So here's a different view from another angle in direct sunlight, just as a natural shift. And you can see there my tips are a little bit more of that orange tone. And then this is my final swatch photo at an angle again in that same direct sunlight. So next up is Lake of Shining Waters, and this polish is best described as a vibrant bright blue that's packed with green to purple shifting duochrome shimmers and scattered holographic particles. So this polish is going to give you a little bit of everything, definitely bright and vivid on the nail, perfect for summer. It's going to come through with all that shimmer and that soft, subtle hollow. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one does go on super easy with no issues at all. It is a little bit sheer here with this first coat, but it definitely builds up well on itself. So here's a look at that second coat. You can see how easy this builds up. That shimmer, again, goes a long way in helping build up that opacity, but also allows a little bit of space for that holographic glitter to shine through as well. 2 coats was really close to being completely opaque. I do prefer this one at 3, so here's a quick look at my third and final coat. Again, I did go in a little bit thicker, but it did help push this polish right to the edge of being completely opaque. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. So under the artificial lighting, you're going to get more of that shimmer, and then in direct sunlight, you're going to get little peaks of that hollow coming through. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same direct sunlight. So next up is Trees Talking in Their Sleep, and this is going to be another top pick for me. It's a thermal, it has iridescent flakies, it is everything that I love. So this one is described as a soft brown when cold to clear when warm thermal, packed with an ethereal emerald green glow and luminescent green to blue shifting flakies, which I live for. So again, my hands were running a little bit cool tone this day, but I will show you the shift in my cups. So here's a look at that first easy coat. You don't get a ton of that brown feel. It almost kind of shifts to a purple because this one is loaded down with that green shimmer as well as those iridescent flakies. So here's a look at that second coat. It does add even more, if you can imagine it, shimmer and flakies to the nail. I did still have some visible nail line, and because this is a clear when warm thermal, I do recommend going in for that third coat for this one. So here's a look at my third and final coat. It did bring this polish completely opaque, again with a ton of that shimmer and a ton of those flakies, and I am not complaining at all. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Again, I do recommend going in with your favorite glossy top coat. Here on my nails, that's pretty much the warm shift. I was kind of testing my water to make sure it was warm enough to show that off. So to the right, I have my ice cold water, and then to the left, I have my really warm water. So you can tell there, it does make for a gorgeous and kind of subtle shift on the nail, but that green and blue shimmer and iridescent flakies really come through the base no matter what the shade is. So there's a quick look at that. Here's the kind of natural shift on my nails, again cool toned in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that direct sunlight. So rounding out the collection today, I have Woodsy, Wild, and Lonesome, and this polish is described as a deep aubergine purple base with a quirky olive to blue shifting multichrome packed with silver holographic micro glitter as well as holographic particles. So again, this one has everything. It's got a little bit of that subtle multichrome shift. It's got some shimmer in there as well as hollow, and it's all in a really awesome formula. So here's a look at that first easy coat. Did go on super smooth and no issues at all, just a little bit sheer. So I'll go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with that second coat. I did opt to go in a little bit thicker with this one. I felt like the formula could take it. 2 coats was pretty much completely opaque, especially on the majority of my nails. Depending on your application, you may want to go in for a third, but I was really happy here with the finish at just 2. So here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. I'm going to try really hard to show you the shift, the multichrome shift underneath my artificial lighting. It kind of does stand out a little bit there. So you can see it does shift to it very soft and almost peacocky purple to blue, and then all the way back to that green depending on your angle. So here's another view from a different angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that same direct sunlight. So that does wrap up my swatch and review of the Green Gables collection. I am so happy to share this with you guys, and has forever been a heroine of mine since I was such a little girl, and I think that the creators over at Femme Fatale Cosmetics did an amazing job at translating the story to polishes that we can put on our nail. I'm super, super happy with them. If you'd like to see any more photos of any of the polishes featured here today, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.com, or you can also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.